Good evening, everyone. Ms. Shuffler here. We are now looking at lesson 7.1, how to find part of a group. So let's take a look at our essential question, which is how can you find a fractional part of a group? So let's take a look at our unlock the problem. Maya collects stamps. She has 20 stamps in her collection. 4/5 of her stamps have been canceled. How many of the stamps in Maya's collection have been canceled? So we know the very first thing that we need to do is go back and look for our keywords in our word problem. So let's kind of take a look at our word problem and find those keywords. So the question is, how many of the stamps in Maya's collection have been canceled? So we know that we need to underline that. Now let's look at some other keywords and key numbers. It says that she has 20 stamps in her collection and that 4/5 of her stamps have been canceled. And then our question is, how many of the stamps in Maya's collection have been canceled? So let's take a look at the first thing that it's asking. It's asking us to find 4/5 of 20. So we put 20 counters on your math board. And if you look, we have 20 counters on our math board. Let's go ahead and make those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There are 20 counters. Since you want to find 4/5 of the stamps, you should arrange the 20 counters in equal groups. But how do we know how many groups that we should have? Well, if we look back at our fraction, and according to this, it says 4/5 of her stamps have been canceled. 4/5 can be written as 4/5. That's our fraction. And if you remember from previous lessons, the top number in our fraction is called the numerator. And the bottom number in our fraction, it is what is known as the denominator. And it is the denominator that tells us the number of equal groups that we should have. So if you look down here, our denominator is 5. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal groups. So now we have to place our counters into these 5 equal groups. Well, let's look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So one of the ways that we can do this is just to go through until we equal 20. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we draw the counters in equal groups below. How many counters are in each group? Well, we know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in each group. So there are 4 counters in each group. Now let's look below. Each group represents 1/5 of the stamps. So we would circle 4/5 of the counters. 4/5 of the counters. So how many groups did you circle? We're circling 4/5 because this equals 1/5, this equals 1/5, this equals 1/5, and this equals 1/5. And since we have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, we know that how many groups did we circle? And we circled 4 groups. And how many counters did you circle? Well, let's look. We circled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So therefore, we circled 16 counters. So therefore, 4/5 of 20 equals 16. Or 4/5 of 20 equals 16. So since we know that 4/5 of 20 equals 16, or 4/5 times 20 equals 16, we now know that 16 of the stamps have been canceled. So now let's take another look at another example. It says Max's stamp collection has stamps from different countries. He has 12 stamps from Canada. Of those 12, 2/3 of them have pictures of Queen Elizabeth II. How many stamps have the Queen on them? Right, well, let's take a look at our word problem, and we know that the question is, how many stamps have the Queen on them? Let's see what other important information we can pull from this word problem. He has 12 stamps from Canada, so we know that's important. And then it says, of those 12, 2/3 of them have pictures of Queen Elizabeth II. So we can draw an array to represent the 12 stamps by drawing an X for each stamp. So let's go down here into our box, and I'm actually not going to draw the X, I'm just going to draw my little circles. So let's go ahead and do that. It's 12 stamps, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm giving you a prime example of one of the problems with arrays is keeping them aligned. Mine aren't very aligned, but it'll work for right now. So we drew our array representing a circle for each stamp. Since you want to find 2/3 of the stamps, your array should show 3 rows, because keep in mind, our denominator, which is our bottom number, is 3, and that's what demonstrates the number of rows. So we should have 3 rows of equal size. Now we are going to circle 2 of the 3 rows to show 2/3 of 12. So let's circle 2 of the rows to show 2/3 of 12. Then we're going to count the number of circles within the actual circle. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 circles within our circle. So now we can complete the number sentence. It says 2/3 of 12 equals 8, or another way of looking at it is 2/3 times 12 equals 8. So there are 8 stamps with a picture of Queen Elizabeth II. So now we can use counters to find 4/6 of 12. Okay, well, we know that our denominator is 6, so that's how many rows that we would have to have. So let's look at our rows. So if we work over here to the side and go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's saying 4/6 of 12. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, we do know that the numerator, which is the 4, tells us how many of those rows need to be circled. So we will circle 4 rows because our numerator is 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We circled 4 of our rows of 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circled. Now, it's asking us to explain why the answer that we just received for 4/6 of 12 would be the same as 2/3 of 12. So let's do the same thing. We are now know our denominator is 3, so we need to have 3 rows of circles. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, but we need 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we know that our numerator is 2, so we need to circle 2 of our rows. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We also have 8 circled there. So one of the explanations is that since 2/3 and 4/6 are equivalent fractions, the same number of counters are circled when I circle 4 out of 6 groups as when I circle 2 out of 3 groups. All right, if you need more time to copy down that explanation, go ahead and feel free to hit pause. Let's go ahead and try one more. It says, Susan has 16 stamps in her collection. 3/4 of the stamps are from the United States. How many of her stamps are from the United States and how many are not? So let's take a look at this question. It says, how many of her stamps are from the United States and how many are not? So there's actually 2 things that we need to find out. How many are from the United States and how many are not. So we can't find one and can be considered the right answer. We need to find both pieces of information. Now let's see what else is important within this word problem. She actually has 16 stamps in her collection. 3/4 of the stamps are from the United States. Okay, so we have 3/4 of 16 are from the United States. Now let's keep in mind with our previous examples how we need to find this. So the first thing that we need to do is remember that our denominator is 4. So we know that we are going to have 4 rows within our array. So let's go ahead and start with our 4 rows. Be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's going to be 4 of 16, so our magic number is 16. So let's keep going until we have 16. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now we have to go back and look at our fraction again because our numerator now tells us how many of these rows need to be circled. And our numerator is 3, so we know we need to circle 3 rows. Not a perfect one, but you get the idea. So let's see how many now of our counters are in the rows. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We know that there are 12 counters within the circle and 1, 2, 3, 4 outside of the circle. So we know that 3/4 of the stamps are from the United States. So 12 of Susan's stamps are from the United States and 4 are not. Okay, let's go ahead and pull out our math journals. Most of this is going to be a review for you, but please go ahead and push pause right now and copy the information into your math journal. And as always, be sure you copy your password on your homework for tonight. The homework is to tell me what place value the 2 is in the number you see on the screen. And if you said hundredths, then you're absolutely correct. Copy that and bring it with you to class tomorrow.